Now, a few years ago, we saw a digital payments revolution in India in the form of UPI. The Indian government has similar plans in the e-commerce space. They're calling it ONDC, the Open Network for Digital Commerce. And the man behind this revolution is joining us on the show today, Mr. T. Koshi, CEO at ONDC. Thank you so much for joining us on Tech Today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, Ayush.
Mr. Koshi, I want to dive right in. Now, a lot of people are calling this the UPI of e-commerce in India. But if you could explain to us what the ONDC is all about, how does this level the playing field in the e-commerce world?
As you are aware that the current model of e-commerce is a very platform-centric approach where each of the platforms that are operating in the market use proprietary technology, making the whole thing, if I use the word, a walled garden. That means a seller on one platform can only talk to the buyer on one platform, and the buyer on that platform can only see the seller on the other side, the same platform. So if a seller or merchant wants to be in both platforms, he will have to have processes and technology, everything that matches with both platforms. So that becomes a costly affair. So what we intend to do in the ONDC world is that if I use simple words like we are unbundling and making interoperable. So what does it try to do is, with the way the technology is architectured, every seller will be visible to every buyer in all the platforms, and every buyer in each platform will be able to discover any seller. So it is no more the scale of any of the application that drives. It is a specialization and innovation. What each seller has to offer and what buyer wants to buy will be the determinant factor, not that any platform has a proprietary audience of sellers and buyers.
Interesting, Mr. Koshi. Now, in terms of implementation, I know this has started off as a pilot project in a few cities, and then you will scale this up subsequently. But when does the ONDC open up for public use? When can the small retailers and all customers across the country actually start reaping the benefits of the technology that is ONDC?
While you have very correctly articulated the ambition, as you're aware, in a country like ours with millions of sellers and billions of buyers, the reach will take its time. But that doesn't mean that we have to wait a long time for anybody to use it. So one thing you need to understand, Ayush, that this is a network and this is not a platform in itself. What it means, that network means that as more and more sellers and buyers start using, the network grows. So it's an organic growth possibility. So when we started in end of April, 29th of April and went in May, June, we wanted to see how the unbundled buyer-seller logistics situation will work. So we attempted it in 5 cities with multiple sellers and buyer and logistics firm, doing transaction with the real sellers and real buyers, but only by invitation. So what we recommended to each of the sellers is bring your normal customers onto the network, let them do the normal buying, and give you the feedback and refine it. So we started with 2 difficult categories, which is food and grocery in 5 cities. And over in the last 2 months, we have been enhancing this presence. Now we are in 36 cities and another 10 cities is going to go live in the next 2-3 days time, with again limited buyers and limited sellers, which is giving us a lot of understanding of the nuances of each of the different parts of our country. And we are also been gradually adding new categories. So our next big event that we are planning by end of the month or the beginning of next month, we are just finalizing the dates and details, is to make it open to public in a limited fashion. So our intention is that, and like I said, by end of the month or on the first couple of days of the next month, we will open it for the public in one metro and observe how it is being accepted and adopted. And with that learning, we will just now keep on going, making it open to more and more cities. In the same time, that is a strategy of going deeper in cities. At the same time, to encourage and stimulate the adoption, we are also in the process of having the early adopters jump into this in practically every city is possible. And as we have some larger seller platforms coming online, you might have already heard about Stampdeal signing up and a number of other such seller apps coming in live with a large number of sellers from large number of cities, including CSE, Citizen Service Center and SignChat and a variety of seller applications are working to get different domains and different categories activated. So by end of this year, you will see presence in a large number of cities, which will exponentially grow. Because the beauty about a network is the network effect. Network effect will drive the adoption faster, and by next year, we expect a very, very broad adoption, both seller side and buyer side.
Since we're talking about digital monopolies, two companies that I have to talk about are Flipkart and Amazon. These are companies that enjoy a massive market share respectively here in India. Should they be worried about ONDC's plan, or do they stand to benefit in any way from the introduction of ONDC?
Let me just look at it a little deeper, Ayush. I understand that this 2 or 3 and probably as some predicted in the next 2 or 3 years, 4 entities can technically have 90% of the market share. But if you really look at what's the penetration of digital commerce in India, 7% or less than that. What is the penetration among the seller side? It's 1%. So India is not just this upper cream of the society, which is people like you and I belong to. But India is very, very large, and a diverse segment of users and diverse segments of merchants are there, and we need to enable all of them to be digitally present and engage in transaction among themselves of the products they like at the service level they want and the kind of delivery schedules they want and so on and so forth. So what ONDC will enable is, like in the case of physical market, a disciplined marketplace where all segments of sellers and buyers can come together. So in that sense, this is like we started with saying, it's a democratization. And the large players, in a way, even if I am in their place, may be uncomfortable because it's bringing more competition. But they understand that is going to be inevitable. And that's a line that we have taken as a country, that our marketplaces are going to be, democratic. And probably you might have seen international media in the recent past very keenly recognizing, acknowledging, and even waiting whether and how we are going to succeed, because they feel that it is going to be a global example.
Mr. Kochi, thanks so much for such a fascinating and candid chat on Tech Today. All of us tech geeks can only wish you all the best for the digital transformation journey that you are embarking upon.
Thank you.